What's in the cards for you this week? Okay, let me make sure that I am live as you hop on. Give me a quick hello. Let me know where you're watching from. We have a fun week ahead with Mercury Retrograde and full moon coming up next week. We are going to be diving into this and talking about how to make the most of it. Okay, so I'm going to just say go live now. This has been like a where in the world is Irina these last couple of weeks. Been traveling a lot and having fun now. I am in Texas, moving my son here. He's on to his next big adventure. So it was like a 12-hour drive last week to New York and 18-hour drive to Texas. And it's been seeing the country, the U.S. by car. All right, let me know, have you guys ever been on a long cross-country car trip? What was the longest you've ever driven? I think that 18-hour, 17-hour trip I just did was the longest. The other thing, too, is let me know that you can hear me. I am going to just double-check that I can hear myself on Facebook. Let's see. Maybe, maybe not. All right. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. What we do here is we go into actions of the moon. Yay, I can hear myself. All right. We go figure out what is the moon doing during the week because thanks, Shannon. I appreciate it. Welcome. The moon is a good indicator of what our emotions are going to be doing that week, especially if we're moon sensitive to the full moon, the new moon, as it changes through the zodiac signs. We feel a difference. And right now, for example, the moon is in Scorpio, and we're going to talk about each day this week where the moon is going. But you might feel a little bit more intense, a little bit more focused. You might want to have some of these deeper conversations. Scorpio is not about surface talk. It is about going deep, finding the truth. And it is also, revealing the areas where there might have been hurt, where there might have been pain. And it offers an opportunity for deep healing and deep transmutation. So let's talk about just this week in general. What's the most important thing you need to know looking at the week ahead? We're going to just pull a card and see who pops up. Queen of Wands. I love this. You're industrious. You can make things happen. There's an old phrase, I was talking about this with a friend of mine, and growing up, you heard, okay, well, you can make do, learn to make do. You use all of the tools and creative options you have around yourself, and you create something kind of like MacGyver. Have you ever seen that show back from the 80s where MacGyver would make like some wonderful concoction out of like a piece of gum, a paper clip, and one other object? Or there was a great show on NPR where you'd call up, I can't remember who it was, but an amazing chef, and you'd say, I have these items in my refrigerator. What can I make? And that's this kind of energy. It's industrious. It's like, okay, what do I have on hand and what can I do with this? Very creative, very energetic, but also coming with that warning of be mindful of how you use your energy this week, because it is possible to burn the candles at all the ends. Like I can just go, 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 go. So the trip here, my son was like, oh, we're going to just drive it through in one straight shot. We'll alternate, 17, 18 hours of driving. It'll be fine. And me being me was like, okay, I'm game. And we did it, and it worked out fabulously. He drove, I slept, I drove, he slept, and it all worked out. But that's kind of like, okay, wait a second. Know your limits and know when you're really, really pushing it, because you want to be mindful of energy this week. And we're going to talk about why that is. And I'm going to share with you a very specific practice that you can do if you've been feeling too busy, overwhelmed, so much going on. Like, how am I going to get it all done? You're being pulled in multiple directions. Okay. Hello, Chrissy, you can hear me. Yeah, 20 hours you have driven from Memphis to Colorado. Oh my gosh, that would be worth it though. Colorado, oh, so gorgeous. I was waving as I drove through Memphis. We saw the big pyramid there. It was really cool. Bass Pro Shops. I think that was like at 3 a.m. Crazy times. Okay, so let's talk about the energy of this week overall. And hey, by the way, if we haven't met, my name's Irina Miller. I'm an energy alchemist, an astrologer, a spiritual life guide. And my joy is connecting moon sensitives like yourself, curious seekers, to the sacred practices and tools that enable them to live their best life, the life they were born to live. And I have been doing this for a couple decades. Since the 90s, and it is my joy. I've worked with thousands of clients and students, teaching them to speak the language of intuition, and that's what we're doing here today. It's what I'm sharing with you, so thank you for being here. Okay, first thing I do is I look at the overall energy of the moon during the week, because that gives me a general idea of, okay, how can I manage my energy best? Because some weeks we just are exhausted and we beat ourselves up like, oh, why can't you get this done? Some weeks we have too much energy, and if we over caffeinate or we overdo it, then we really feel it. So this week, it is a week where energy is building. It's a waxing gibbous phase. And when we're working in that waxing gibbous phase, so the light of the moon is getting brighter and brighter and brighter, we're working towards full moon next Monday, a week from today, the energy is building. And usually, generally, people feel more energetic. And on Wednesday, there's a very special dance in the heavens above of Mars and Jupiter conjoining, which means it's like they blend their energies, they give each other a big hug. And that's going to also affect your energy levels. So what I want to say is take into account that, yes, the energy is going to be building this week. You might have more energy, but Mercury's retrograde. So that's trying to slow us down to reassess, reevaluate. And then we also have added to that this Mars-Jupiter conjunction where they're blending their energies, where Mars is go, ambition, drive. Whenever it comes to touch a planet or visit, let's say, it energizes it. It adds more juice. It's like a little bit of a turbo boost. And Sagittarius is at its high frequency level, optimism, it is adventure, it's fun. It's like, hey, let's go on an 18-hour road trip. Well, why not? Hello, Hannah. So great to have you. So, oh my goodness gracious. We want to be careful because it is possible that we could overdo it this week and you might find yourself being exhausted at the end of the week. So manage your energy well this week, meaning make sure you're getting your good night's sleep, make sure you're eating well, you're moving your body, and the sacred practices I share with you today here will also help. The sun is bright in Texas. Holy cannoli. I thought I'd come outside because it's really pretty right now, and then it gets very hot. Okay, so let's talk about Monday's energy. Monday moon starts in Scorpio, and we spoke about Scorpio just a teensy bit. I might readjust here ever so slightly because I want to make sure I'm not squinting at you the whole time. So as the moon adjusts, boop, 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 it's like have you guys ever had a fruit roll up before? It's like there's a fruit roll up here. Hold on. This is like, see, isn't it pretty here? Check out the pool. Oh my gosh, such a pretty location. Yeah, I'm messing up all the chairs. Oh, I'll fix them. Okay, this is better. I can see you. See, years ago, I wouldn't have readjusted. I would have sat in the sun and just kind of suffered. And then you guys would have seen me squinting and I wouldn't have been able to give you a really good reading. So this is energy in action. This is me saying, you know what? I'll be a better guide and teacher if I can shift places for you. Thank you for your patience with me. So Moon and Scorpio. Watch those moments if you get really compulsive about something today, like you get fixated on one thing, and maybe it's something from the past because we have Mercury in retrograde. So if you are rehashing conversations from the past, old relationships, old connections, and it's agitating you, think about doing a healing practice today and letting it go. Something like the Ho'oponopono is a very helpful one so that you don't get stuck, because sometimes with the Scorpio moon, we can get stuck. We get into this rut where it's just like, I'm going to finish this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, or it just keeps playing over and over. And the Ho'oponopono, very sweet, if you know it, let me know, comes from sacred Hawaiian traditions. And it goes, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you say it to the person. You can say it just to their higher self. You don't have to say it directly. It's beautiful. And you can also say it to yourself if you feel like you've made a mistake in the past that you're rehashing. So the moon in Scorpio, I would encourage you to transmute, to do a practice, a healing practice, to help you get over any of the past feelings of hurt, betrayal, so that you don't stay stuck, but you can move forward. And what's most important that you know about Monday? So this beautiful Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords, this is the card that I always think of getting up at 3 a.m. and worrying. It's all these thoughts. And sometimes it's through the lens of perspective. We experience things a certain way, and somebody else has a totally different narrative. There was a movie once upon a time where it was told from 3 different viewpoints. One was from the woman's viewpoint, the man's viewpoint, and a narrator. So kind of like an objective look at it. And it was almost like 3 completely different movies. even though it was the same story, it was the same people experiencing it, everybody engaged with it in a completely different way and they processed it. So know by the light of the morning, so you've got this beautiful sunlight, things look differently. Give yourself some time to heal, to process all those thoughts that seem dark, intense, maybe overwhelming, and see that in the light of day, in a different perspective, there's a different story that can be told, and healing really is present. Shannon, oh, you said you love it. You just used that last week, the Ho'oponopono. I'm thinking, that's wonderful. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. It's very powerful. When I've made major mistakes myself, I've gone back and I've said that too to myself. I've said that to others where I've created harm or hurt, not intentionally. But, life can be challenging. It really can at times. So that's why we have these practices to hone in on the beauty and on the sweetness. Okay, Tuesday. I'm going to tune in first and just ask what's the most important thing you need to know about Tuesday's energy. The wind kicks up here. King of Pentacles. So King of Pentacles, with the energy of this week, what I'm going to say is be very mindful of the details. Be mindful of the big picture. Where are you going? He's grounded. He's present. He's down to earth. He's not in any kind of rush. He's sitting there with his beautiful fur baby, that great dog, and he's enjoying all of the hard work and labor that he's put in over the years in order to get to where he is. But he's also mindful about, well, where am I going to invest next? What am I doing? Is this really in alignment with my bigger plan and vision? So he's not flying by the seat of his pants. He's not impulsive. It's not a fiery one's energy. This is very, I'll use the word calculated, in the sense of he's looking at the details. He's looking at the numbers. He's making an informed choice. It's not emotional based. As you look at this week and as you are preparing, I invite you, because the moon will still be, I think it's still in Scorpio. Nope. It moves into Sagittarius by tomorrow. So Sagittarius is hopeful and optimistic. And sometimes we can, it's like that old saying, our eyes are bigger than our stomach. Like if you ever go to a buffet and you're like, ooh, and this looks good, and this looks good. It's like we bite off more than we chew, or than we can chew. And this energy of Tuesday, there's a remembrance. Okay, wait a second. Before you bite off more than you chew, before your eyes are too big than your stomach, because there's all this enthusiasm. You're like, oh, okay, I'm working towards my big goal. But we want to mindfully watch our energy levels. We don't want to overexert. So one last example for this might be, let's say there was something in your home you wanted to redo. Maybe it was a painting project or a renovation project, or maybe it's something with work. And you say, okay, this weekend I'm going to rip up the old carpeting. I'm going to spackle the walls. I'm going to paint. I'm going to get it all done right in the weekend. And you realize, oh, wait a second. I need a certain amount of time for the spackle to dry, or they didn't have the flooring I wanted, or the paint color. And there are just things that naturally slow us down that initially we're like, oh, sure, I could get that done. So Tuesday, just be mindful as you're working through the week that what you're doing is in alignment with your heart's intentions, the big picture, but also that you're not pushing yourself too hard in the pathway to achieve your dream. Okay. So Moon and Sagittarius on Wednesday, and this is also the big day, Wednesday, where Mars and Jupiter conjoin. They give each other a hug in the sky. It's like they blend their energy. Mars stops by to visit Jupiter and like, hey, what's going on? Mars is bringing all of this energy, this enthusiasm, this passion at its highest level. At a lower frequency, Mars would be bringing frustration, irritation, agitation, maybe even anger. So we want to watch, right? Because Mars visiting Jupiter, so to speak, could present in a lot of different ways. It could present as a lower frequency of anger, frustration, impulsiveness, hot-headedness. Sagittarius just like, we're just going to do it. We're not going to overthink it. But what I invite you to do is, by grounding, by staying present, by knowing what's going on energetically around you, you don't have to get into that space where you're reacting to the emotions and the experiences as they're coming up, but you can respond. It's mindful. It's that King of Pentacles energy. And you could say, I'm going to come with the Mars energy of excitement and energy and drive and ambition and passion, and meet up with Jupiter, who's good luck, optimism, growth, expansion, and bring that together to have a very, I'm going to say innovative and creative day where you could have an incredible breakthrough in whatever area you're working on, whether it's a renovation of the house, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's the way that you are manifesting abundance. Wednesday is, by some people, considered to be a very lucky day. And I encourage you, any day could be a lucky day. Any day could be a bad day. It's all about how we engage with the energy that's present. So it's not the energy that's good or bad. It's how we work with the materials we have on hand. It's like that, what I was saying before, we make do with what we have. So here's the energy of the day. How are we going to make do with it? Are we going to get agitated and upset and grumbly and say it's a no good bad day? Or are we going to find the silver linings and use the energy at that higher frequency? Because this week could really go, multiple ways. All right. So with Wednesday, I'm going to just tune in because I didn't pull a card for Wednesday. And if I did, we'll pull another card, but I don't think I did. So Wednesday, what's most important that you need to know about Wednesday's energy? And I'm just going to see who's popping up here. Yep, this guy, strength. So you're stronger than you realize, and you have deep down inside the strength that you need in order to reach your goal and reach your dream. And it's not about being intense and pushy. It's about being patient. This is traditionally the card where the beautiful woman is opening the lion's mouth. And if you're going to open a lion's mouth, you can't be forceful. You have to really tune into the energy of the lion. You have to connect with them, understand them, be empathetic, and take your time. So with Wednesday, if you are encountering, lions, like with thorns in their paws and be patient. Ground, use your intuitive empathic abilities to tune into the energy of the moment and transmute it so that you can step back into your power. And when I say step into your power or stand in your power, what I mean is you're really owning who you are, the path that you're on, and being respectful to all those around you. You're not giving your power away and giving your independence of thought. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, Thursday's energy. So I'm going to pull a card first for Thursday and just ask what's most important that you need to know. 7 of Pentacles. So what gets measured grows. But that old phrase, if you've heard of it, but this is also about tending to the projects that you have on hand. Don't feel like you need to bring a whole, because again, Mercury's retrograde, right? So it's not about starting a bunch of new projects. This is about loving and tending what you've already been building into. This is saying, I'm going to take some time to assess how far have I come? Where am I going? Again, am I in alignment? And this is really cool because the moon will move from Sagittarius, that fun, adventurous, playful, optimistic energy, into Capricorn about midday. So for East Coasters, it's going to happen just before 2 p.m. Eastern, my Central Coast friends, or Central Coast, Central Time, 1 p.m. Got to always bring, I love water. Going to try to make a coast everywhere. So anyway, by about midday for some people, you're going to notice moon moving into Capricorn. You'll notice it energetically. Why? Because things get serious. You go from, let's, drive 18 hours to, wait a second, let's look at this. Are we going through any toll roads? Or how much gas will we need? Does the car need an oil change? Let's be responsible about this. When will we arrive? Should we stop halfway? So, and Sagittarius energy would say, no, just get in the car and go. It'll be fine. They're optimistic. They're the adventurer. And Capricorn is going to be more responsible and say, oh, no, wait a second. We got to sit down and plan this out. So by midday on Thursday, you're going to feel the energy shift, and it's going to be into one of more seriousness. And I would say if there's business that you need to get done, if there's things you need to accomplish and be responsible about, you're going to find that support on Thursday and Friday for sure with the moon in Capricorn. So Friday, moon is still in Capricorn, and we're going to just ask what's the most important thing you know about Friday's moon. 5 of Wands. 5 of Wands is about competition. And sometimes it's where we just keep striving to reach that goal. Now, this can be places where we beat ourselves up because, we're in competition with ourselves. That's the goal, where we look back at our past records in history. And that's what we were doing on Thursday with the 7 of Pentacles, is we look back and we say, okay, am I on track? Have I been doing what I wanted to? And maybe you realize when you're reassessing, oh no, I completely went off track. I'm not anywhere close to where I want to be. And we beat ourselves up. And this is saying, wait a second, what good is that accomplishing? The 5 in tarot is a halfway point. It's a tipping point. You can either go forward or you can go back. There's no right or wrong. If you go back, you're just building a stronger foundation. That's a 4 energy. If you go forward, you're stepping into more creativity and more independence in some ways. So the 5 of Wands is saying, where have you been beating yourself up? Where have you been throwing yourself in competition with other people, like comparisonitis? And take a moment to pause, because with the moon in Capricorn, you're going to have that ability to be objective and look at things in a way that's not feeling like opinion based. You're constantly beating yourself up. It's going to say, all right, listen, when I made that decision way back when, I did it with the information I had on hand. It was the best that I could do in that situation. Now in hindsight, knowing what I know, maybe it wasn't the best, but I did the best I could then. So I'm not going to beat myself up about it, because we can get stuck in that energy of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And this is saying, just be mindful of that. It's going to waste your energy. And watching your energy levels this week is important. Okay, so that was Friday's energy. So as we move into Saturday, the moon starts off in Capricorn and then goes into Aquarius late in the day. For East Coast friends, that's around just before 6 p.m. My West Coast friends, 3 p.m. And across the pond will be while you're sleeping, most likely. So when the moon moves into Aquarius, starting off Capricorn, you're responsible, you're looking at everything you have to do, you're tallying it up. Later on that evening, you might find that need of like, okay, I just need to break free a little bit. I need to let loose. I need to allow myself to be innovative and creative and know that I don't have to go the traditional route. There's a set of affirmations that I really loved that goes along the lines of, and I'm going by memory here, but it's like, everything's going to be okay. Others have been where I have been and they figured it out, so I can figure it out too. If you find yourself stuck in a conundrum, like you're looking back saying, oh, how did I get myself here? Or how did I get stuck? It's like, you know what? There's pathways, there's solutions, there's options. Don't allow yourself to kind of sink and feel trapped or stuck. That Aquarius energy is going to help you be innovative. So Saturday, what's most important that you need to know about Saturday's energy? Oh, I love it. Queen of Swords. So you are getting that support from the universe about objectivity. Queen of Swords is air. So very much I think of her as like Libra, but she can also represent any of the air signs, Aquarius, Gemini. And it is about looking out at her queendom. And again, thinking big picture. Her heart is tucked away in this beautiful little compartment down here. Doesn't mean she's heartless. It's just like the emotions are out of the picture. I'm not letting my emotions rule, because again, when we look back in the past and we reflect, sometimes those emotions come up so intensely we can't move forward because we get stuck in the heartache and the pain. And this week you're being encouraged, okay, validate those feelings, do a healing process like Ho'oponopono. Or I'm going to give you a practice here in a moment. If you're feeling so busy and so overwhelmed, like I don't even know, what direction do I go in? Do that so that you can be objective. Do that healing work. Handle, heal, address, validate the emotions so that you can look at the details objectively and not get stuck in the story of it. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, and then we'll do Sundays and I'll share that practice with you. Sunday, moon is in Aquarius. We wake up to it. So a little quirky, a little innovative, a little different. You might just feel like, I need to be a little rebellious on Sunday. I need to break free. I need to do something a little wild for me. I would invite you, again, it's kind of like ask for an image. Did you ever see that movie Finding Nemo? And he goes and he's swum off the reef and his dad sees him and he says, Nemo, whatever you do, don't touch that boat, but they call it the butt. And so Nemo goes, touches the butt, the boat. And I always giggle because, right, we just have those moments where somebody's like, don't do that. And you're like, right? Okay, so be mindful. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt anyone else. But maybe you're just like, you know what, today I'm not wearing pantyhose to work. Right? That would have been like my old rebellious thing back in the day when I worked in a corporate office. I don't think you have to wear pantyhose anymore. Thank God. Oh, I'm not a pantyhose fan. Let me know if you are. Maybe you are. Oh, gosh. So a little rebellion, maybe you decide purple streak in your hair, but something that just makes you feel like I can be innovative, I can be creative, I can honor my unique side. Okay, let's talk about the practice. And I'm just tuning in. Yeah. The practice that I wanted to share with you, if you are getting to that point where you are feeling overwhelmed and life is just too busy and it's like, what direction do I go in? The yogis talk about a drishti, and a drishti is a focal point. And you can have an outside focal point like a dancer, a ballerina, where you're spinning, and as you spin, like you turn, but your eyes always stay on the focal point, and you whip around your head really fast so that you don't get dizzy. Your body's spinning quickly, life is going in all different directions, but you feel very steady. What you can do for this practice is create an internal focus point, an internal drishti. And I want to invite you just to take a few deep breaths right now and bring your awareness into the center of your chest. And as you bring your awareness into the center of your chest, imagine and visualize a beautiful flame. And this flame is made up of reds and oranges and yellows and even a beautiful little blue cone at the center. And no matter how the wind blows around you, no matter the words that people are speaking or the noises of the cars and birds, this flame remains steadfast. It doesn't flicker or waver. And as you bring your awareness and your attention and internal gaze to the heart, you feel very steady and you become very present. When you are steady and present in this way, what happens is you always feel so in tune, in the zone, in the flow with the moment, that it's hard to get thrown. It's hard to be surprised by the unexpected. Not that it can't happen, but it's a lot harder. So doing these practices, like remembering the flame within the heart, and I have a very nice practice about that. If you're interested in it, drop me a little flame, and I gotta figure out a way to share it with you because it's in one of my courses, but I'll see what I can do. That flame within gives you a lot of steadiness. All right. I hope you have an amazing week wherever you are. Thanks for joining me, for coming on me with my adventures to New York, to Texas. Who knows where I'll be next week. But I do so appreciate all of you, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing day. And if you want to learn about the moon, there is Moon Club, arinamiller.co/club. Come hang out, play, and learn more about the moon as we go deeper with it in there. All right, have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys.